welcome to News Central TV. My name is Mazino Appeal. Now the top stories this hour. Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan's suspension from the Senate takes dramatic turn as Justice Obiora Igwatu recused herself over Akpabio's petition. And organized labor threatens to disrupt the economy if Rivers emergency rule is not reversed. Also coming up, Mozambique's opposition leader, Mondlane, President Chapo, agree to end violence. Details coming up shortly. Now we begin in Abuja, where the Senate Committee on Ethics, Privileges and Public Petitions has begun its investigations into the allegations of sexual harassment raised by now suspended Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan. The deliberations commenced moments after the legal battle surrounding the suspension of Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan from the Senate took a new twist as Justice Obiora Igwatu of the Federal High Court, Abuja, recused himself from the case. At the previous hearing on March 10, the judge had adjourned proceedings to March 25 to allow all relevant processes to be served at the parties involved. But during Tuesday's sessions, Justice Igwatu announced his withdrawal from the case, citing allegations of bias as the reason for stepping aside. He has now directed that the case file be transferred to the chief judge for assignment, or rather reassignment, to another judge, ensuring the case continues under a new judicial officer. For now, all eyes remain on the judiciary as the legal proceedings take a new direction. Earlier, News Central's Joshua Marai joined us from Abuja for some updates on the development.
You could hear gasp in the courtroom as Honorable Justice Igwatu in his ruling announced that he's recusing himself from the case between Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan and the Senate President. However, the Senate President, through his counsel, informed the court of his intention and the petition that he has lost confidence in Honorable Justice Obiora Igwatu in handling the case henceforth. And the Senate President cited case of expressing lack of confidence in the ability of the court to dispense justice as appropriate. Well, this is quite shocking because we can recall that on the 19th of March, this same month, the Senate President, through his counsel, had approached the same court to ease some of the restrictions that he placed on the Senate, barring them from going on with any disciplinary action. So it is quite surprising that the same Senate President is coming back to say he lacks confidence in the ability of Honorable Justice Obiora Igwatu in continuing the case. Well, it might interest you to know that this morning we were at the Court of Appeal also, where we held of a hearing by the Senate President's Counsel to stay on the judicial proceedings of the lower courts. That is, the Senate President and through his lawyers applied to the appeal court that the appeal court should bar or maybe halt the Federal High Court to stay on the proceedings, to halt the proceedings concerning this dispute between the two senators. This is one of the embargoes you might face in this whole jurisprudence brouhaha and the likes, because this is just one step backward for her, because we understand that there is an appeal before the appeal court seeking to suspend every proceeding of the Federal High Court. Well, we are waiting to hear from her what she has to say and our legal representatives. See power play from the senators. When I mean the senators, those who are parties to this case, they are alleging that it's a power play between those in power and Senator Natasha Akpoti. But we might not know what is going on beneath the surface, because we understand that this is quite a lengthy lawsuit that might go on, because this is a case that is waiting to blow up. And Nigerians are interested in this. Some people are alleging foul play, some are alleging a hijack of the judiciary, but we might not know what is going on, but we'll just wait and see what the judiciary has to say concerning this whole matter. I'm looking forward.
Now, yet on the matter, the Senate Committee on Ethics, Privileges and Public Petitions has commenced its investigations into the sexual harassment allegations leveled against Senate President Godswill Akpabio by suspended Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan. Now, the investigation follows a petition submitted by one of Akpoti-Uduaghan's constituents accusing the Senate President of gross misconduct, abuse of office and also sexual harassment. In a surprising turn, former Minister of Education Obi Ezekwesili is currently in the committee room appearing as a witness in the matter alongside the petitioner. Now, the ongoing hearing is expected to provide further insight into the allegations and their potential implication on the Senate's leadership. And now, Tunji Abdul Hamid is a lawyer with a keen interest in the Nigerian political landscape. He joins us now from Lagos for some perspective on its latest development, Tunji, you're welcome. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure to be with you.
Great. Now, Tunji, the judge had earlier given separate orders that were for and against on this same matter. First, he asked the Senate not to take any action against her, and then he reversed that same order, and now he's stepped aside. What do you make of this back forth in the center?
Yeah, I think it's unfortunate and it's again normal in our system. You see, when a court makes an order, you are not satisfied with the order, you have the right to apply for the order to be set aside. And if the court agrees with your position, the court will set it aside. Probably that was the reason why it was set aside by the court. And again, when you have a judge handling your case and you are not satisfied with you don't have confidence in the judge, you have a reason of bias. If you can establish it before the court, you can ask the court to recuse himself. And if the court agrees with you, he will do that. And that's exactly what they have done. Just similar to what Nnamdi Kanu was saying that time, that he does not have confidence in that a particular judge, and that he wants another judge to take his matter. So if you are what we have been told now is that the Senate president or the president of the Senate said he has no confidence in the judge and in his case on the allegation of bias. So if the court is satisfied, I'm happy that the court did not drag it. When an allegation of bias is alleged against you, you don't have to drag it, except you have an issue on it. If you don't have anything on it, when that is done, just answer and leave the case for them to handle by a judge who don't have any, who is not likely to be biased in the matter. For me, the front and back is part of the legal process in our system.
So isn't this looking like a matter that is already overweight with political influence, as opposed to one that will be merely on the strength of its legality? What do you think the outcome of this would be eventually?
I cannot, the matter is subject. It's still in court. I can't predict the outcome, but I know that our system, even me, I don't have confidence in our judiciary. I must tell you that. I don't have confidence because I've seen so many judgments delivered by our judges, and I will be amazed at how did they arrive at this? There are so, in fact, the one of them that I remember now is how the Senate president became a member of the Senate. They know fully well that he did not participate in the presidential in the senatorial primary. So some of those judgments make me feel like are these judgments truly based on law or based on a certain influence or certain relationship? So for me, my confidence in our judiciary to deliver sometimes, exactly when it involves people in the position of authority, the VIP in Nigeria, my confidence is always dwindling. I must tell you the truth. It's unfortunate that I'm saying so, but that is the truth. If you want a correction of our system, we must tell ourselves the truth. If you want to hide it and say because I'm a member of the judiciary, I'm a lawyer, and then I will not be to be as if I'm disparaging my profession or judiciary, then we're not going to correct anything. If you want to correct the system,
Tunji,
must say the truth.
Tunji, what it seems like at this point where there is a vote of no confidence in the judiciary and we have seen the result, it's like the Senate itself is sitting in on its own case. So how credible could the results be?
That's exactly what we're saying. I do not expect anything different from the National Assembly regarding the Natasha's case. Their position, their inquiry or whatever, the answer to me is no. They will not find the Senate president guilty, and the Natasha will be found. His case will be found. In fact, you remember they said what's it called? The petition submitted by him is dead on arrival. They already had their mind. Those who are witness against Natasha, Senator Natasha, are those who are speaking on behalf of the Senate. So how do we expect them to be fair and to be fair in the system? I don't expect any fair hearing in that matter. You cannot be a judge in your own case, and that's what the Senate is doing now. And the Senate the National Assembly has become their habit to take law into their hand in the name of we have our rules. The rules of the National Assembly does not override the provision of the Constitution. The Constitution is there. In fact, the rules they were claiming that they have is subject to the provision of the Constitution. If you read that particular section, it said it's subject to the provision of this Constitution. So, but then once they are doing anything, that they will tell you they have a rule and they are following their rules. The rules does not supersede the constitution. Unfortunately, the National Assembly will be setting standards of obeying rule of law are at the forefront of disregarding it. Because even before the suspension of Natasha, you are aware that there's another of court restraining them from taking any step against Natasha. Yes, they went ahead and sanctioned Senator Natasha for whatever they allege against.
All right, and then
so for me, I do not expect anything special from the National Assembly.
Okay, so what would your suggestion be regarding an end to this? Should it be a political solution or perhaps just follow the law till its full end, a legal process? Which would be the best way to get out of this matter?
The best way is to allow the rule of law to prevail. Allow the system to work. You cannot be a judge in your own cause. Let the case be handled by a neutral body. In fact, that's why the matter is in court. Court will be in the best position to handle the matter, not the National Assembly doing their own hearing or doing their own what they call the committee of the National Assembly looking at the issue. I am not a supporter of a settlement matter by way of political settlement. This is the reason why we are today. When the issue that has to be decided by law, we'll talk about political settlement, and then we'll brush it aside. When the time comes for us to use it, there won't be any authority to rely on because we have not allowed law to prevail. So for me, I think the court is in the best position to settle the matter. Unfortunately, like I said, even the court, I have my doubts.
Tunji Abdulhamid, thank you very much for joining us this afternoon to give your fair understanding of the matter and your input there. Thank you very much, Tunji.
Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure to be with you. Thank you.
Still in Abuja, 39 constitutional amendment bills addressing key areas such as the judiciary, legislature, security, and electoral reforms have passed their second reading in the House of Representatives. The leader of the House, Julius Iwonwere, led the motion for their consideration, highlighting key proposals, including an amendment that would make the recommendation of the National Judiciary Council mandatory for the removal of heads of Nigerian courts. Another key proposal seeks to empower the Chief Justice of Nigeria to issue a proclamation for the inauguration of a new National Assembly. Also a focus is a bill advocating for the establishment of state and local government police forces, as well as a proposal to create a political party registration and regulatory commission to strengthen the oversight of political parties in the country. Now let's head to Rivers State, where the organized labor has strongly condemned the declaration of a state of emergency in Rivers State, warning that it may be forced to take decisive action, potentially disrupting national economic activities if the proclamation is not reversed within a reasonable time frame. The warning was issued in a joint statement signed by the Rivers State Chairperson of the Nigeria Labour Congress, Alex Ogwagawa, State Chairperson of the Trade Union Congress, Ikechukwu Onyefuru, and Chairperson of the Joint Negotiation Council, Chukwu Emecheta. The labor unions questioned the legality of the federal government's decision and raised concerns over its economic and potential implications, or rather political implications. They described the suspension of the elected governor, deputy governor, and House of Assembly members as hasty and baseless, insisting that due process must be followed. Now, in the time being, a pro-Fubara group under the auspice of Simplicity Movement has warned against a purported attempt to appoint sole administrators at the local government areas in Rivers State. At a press conference in Port Harcourt, the group, while expressing its willingness to work with the Rivers State sole administrator, retired Admiral Ibok Ete Ibas, in delivering good governance, however, notes that any attempt to extend the appointment of sole administrators to the local government levels would be tantamount to violating the Nigerian constitution. They affirmed that President Bola Tinubu was unfair to Governor Siminalayi Fubara in his attempt to settle the political crisis in the state. Aggrieved protesters led by Hassan Taiwo Soweto have taken the bold decision to sue the Nigerian police over the illegal arrest and brutal assault of 22 protesters, including members of their movement on the 20th of October 2024 at the Lekki Toll Gate, while commemorating the EndSARS anniversary. The protesters staged a peaceful demonstration in front of the Federal High Court in Ikoyi before the hearing commenced. The case, which was presided over by Justice Kakai, was, however, adjourned till May 28th.
It is a fight for survival. You must come out to claim your rights. You must come out to assert your humanity, your right to decent living, your right to be protected by the security operatives and not to be molested. That's why we have seek redress in the court.
Last year, October 20, I and a few of my comrades, we were all harassed, brutalized. Some of us were beaten by the Nigerian police simply because we came out. We came out to Lewi to commemorate the Lekki massacre that happened 2020. So we're here today to sue the Nigerian police and to also ask if, because we all know as Nigerians, it is our right. We all have the right to freedom of speech.
Nobody is above the law. We thought Nigerian police are our friends, and they are to protect life and property. But instead, it has turned the other way around. Then today, we are here to tell them that nobody is above the law. These are the things that many people have been passing through, above this, behind the scene, that nobody will know. And when they come out to tell us, they will deny it. This time, we witness it ourselves.
We're going to short break now. The news returns shortly, and when we do, Senate confirms Wakuche as new correctional service boss. Details of this and more after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. Now, the World Bank specialist lead, Deborah Issa, says her team in the Abia State, I beg your pardon, her team is in Abia State to study what she described as hope, human capital opportunity for prosperity and equity. Now, during her visit to the governor of Abia State in his country home in Mvosi, Isiala, Ngwa South local government area, she pledges World Bank support in the education and health sectors. Governor Alex Otti highlighted some of the reforms the government introduced in the education sector to make it more attractive and rewarding.
But the roles and responsibilities for across the human resource management cycle, across MDAs and also across levels of government, and how that is managed. So from workforce planning, how does that get linked with the budgeting and the recruitment and the hiring and the deployment, performance management, to make sure that we've got qualified frontline workers that are in the best places they can be to meet the need. We are looking at this. We've had some meetings at the federal level, and we plan to do a number of deep dives in states because, again, we understand that states have different methods. And Abia is the first state that we selected because we thought we had a lot to learn from you.
We also found that because we introduced free and compulsory education from the beginning of this year, we found an explosion in enrollment. And teachers are now overwhelmed. So we had, like you rightly observed, started the process to recruit more teachers, extended the retirement age of teachers from 60 to 65, introduced a discriminatory compensation package for teachers so that they can better, particularly those who choose to.
Now, amid growing calls for clemency for Sunday Jackson, a farmer from Adamawa State whose death sentence was recently upheld by the Supreme Court, international human rights activists say there's still hope for the ruling to be reviewed. Addressing a news conference in Abuja, they say that they have submitted a letter to the federal government seeking clemency for Jackson. They also presented a separate letter from the father of the assailant who had attacked Jackson but lost his life in the process, also appealing for clemency for the farmer.
We met not only with the mother and father of Sunday Jackson, more significantly, the father of the deceased also gave us a signed letter asking the governor for a pardon for Sunday Jackson.
On Friday, we obtained the copy of the judgment of the Supreme Court finally, And upon reviewing it, I believe that there's basis to actually go back to the Supreme Court for a review. They said that his response was excessive. It is on record that Sunday Jackson was stabbed twice. And if he stabbed the other man 3 times, there's no way that that's excessive, because they were in mortal combat. If we are to accept this Supreme Court as a precedent for self-defense in Nigeria, it means that if your enemy slaps you twice, you can only slap him back twice. The father of the assailant said to us in Newman, he said literally, count us out of this judgment. He did not support the execution of Sunday Jackson.
Now, the Senate has confirmed Nwakuche Sylvester Ndidi as the Controller General of the Nigerian Correctional Service. Nwakuche's confirmation follows the consideration of a report by the Senate Committee on Interior, which recommended his confirmation. The report presented by the committee's chairman, Adams Oshiomhole, confirmed the nominee's qualifications and stability for the role, clearing all doubts. Following the submission of the report, the Senate adopted its recommendations after it was put to a voice vote. Nwakuche, who was appointed by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in December 2024, has been serving in an acting capacity before his confirmation. His confirmation comes amid heightened concerns over security following a jailbreak in Kogi State, where 12 inmates escaped from the correctional facility recently. Away from that now, President Bola Tinubu has performed the groundbreaking ceremony for the construction of an access road to the second Niger Bridge Phase 2, a linking Delta and also Anambra states in Oko Amakun near Asaba, the Delta state capital. President Tinubu stated that the 17.6-kilometer strategic roadway, which spans multiple communities in Delta, will function as a vital transportation corridor connecting the south-south and the southeastern regions of Nigeria. News Central's correspondent Austin Azu brings us the details.
It's a groundbreaking ceremony for Phase 2A of the construction of an access road to the second Niger Bridge connecting Delta and Anambra states in Okamako near Asaba, the Delta state capital in south-south Nigeria. President Bola Tinubu, who identified the project as a major gateway into eastern Nigeria, said the project will address the long-age traffic congestion experienced by motorists and commuters on the first Niger Bridge. Represented by the governor of Delta State, Sheriff Oborewori, President Tinubu said the project is a significant step towards improving infrastructure, boosting economic activities and fostering sustainable development in both the south-south and eastern regions.
The access road we are flagging off today is a direct response to challenges faced by road users and is expected to improve connectivity, enhance road safety, and boost trade and commerce that the southeast region is known for.
The Minister of Works, David Umahi, who reiterated the President's commitment towards addressing the road infrastructure deficits across Nigeria, said the other side of the second Niger Bridge in Anambra will also be flagged off to increase investment and economic developments of the south-south and eastern regions. By improving mobility, reduce congestion and fostering commercial activities, Umahi said the road would play a crucial role in socio-economic advancement of the region, ensuring long-term prosperity for residents and businesses alike.
Tomorrow, we will flag off the Anambra axis. These two bypasses to ensure that we don't tamper with the traffic within the town corridor. And this is very, very important. Let me announce to you, Mr. Governor, that the vandalization of the infrastructure of Second now will never happen again. We put in CCTV. We're going to direct them to put a stretch of it in your office and also in Anambra Governor's office so that you people will see that corridor, what is going on there.
In their separate goodwill messages, leaders of the impacted communities in Delta states, that's the roadway traverses Izilazaba, Okpanam, Ibuzo, Asaba, Okwe, and Okamako, spoke on the economic benefits of the projects.
Presented the benefit
that will accrue from this access road. Stimulating economy and also helping for easy transportation, road transportation, impacting on farming, among so many others. So for us, it's a welcome development.
It has also made traveling to the eastern part of the country easier and stress-free, as the access traffic jam on the road, especially during the festive period, is now a thing of the past.
While this project will provide job opportunities for youth within this area, it's expected that the youth will be of good behavior during the construction of this project. In Asaba for News Central, Austin Azu.
Nigeria has recorded the world's largest decline in cash usage over the past decade as digital payments continue to surge. While this shift has made transactions easier for many across the country, it has also left some struggling to adapt. Our correspondent Joshua Marai was on the streets of Abuja and gives us more on this report.
According to a new report by global financial institution WorldPay, cash transactions in Nigeria are fallen by 59% in the last decade, more than any other major economy. This decline has affected people like Amaka Uchendu, a food vendor in Nigeria's capital, Abuja. With fewer people carrying cash, she has had to migrate to digital payments.
I prefer cash.
Why you prefer cash?
Because when you go market, you buy what you want. If you do transfer, they will hide the price. But then with cash, they will sell normal price for you.
Okay, but people don't pay you through transfer before.
They pay.
You don't ever get issue with where it bounce back?
Yes, they will tell you that they have transferred. Meanwhile, there's no money. They think no transfer anything. And now they lose. That is why it's not fair at all.
Ode Daniel, a commercial cab driver, however, tells a different story, saying digital transactions has made business easier and faster.
No, transfer doesn't affect my business in any way. Rather, it makes the work to be more easier and faster. Because the process of like somebody doesn't have a cash, you want to go the mix of the POS or to look for cash is wasting time. But if you transfer in less than a minute, I've gotten my money and moved to the next passenger. So it's much faster and easier for me than the process of collecting cash. It doesn't affect my business in any way.
With cash transactions expected to drop to just 32% by 2030, Nigeria's digital revolution is far from over. But as the country moves towards a cashless future, the challenge remains: how do we ensure that no one is left behind? In Abuja for News Central, I am Joshua Imarai.
Happening now as we return to our top story from the Senate in Abuja, where the Committee on Ethics, Privileges and Public Petitions has commenced its investigation into the sexual harassment allegations leveled against Senate President Godswill Akpabio by suspended Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan. Now, the investigation follows a petition submitted by one of Akpoti-Uduaghan's constituents accusing the Senate President of gross misconduct, abuse of office and also sexual harassment. In a surprising turn of events, former Minister of Education Obi Ezekwesili made appearance in the committee room as a witness in the matter alongside the petitioner, where she engaged in a heated exchange of words with one of the lawmakers. Now, the ongoing hearing is expected to provide further insight into the allegations and their potential implications on the Senate's leadership.
Because he has taken a stand publicly on this issue. And that is why we cannot sit here and take a vote in front of you. You don't have the right to do that. Oh, we do. We're citizens of we are here.
What we are here to do is to take the feedback onto evidence. When we take the feedback onto evidence, complete to take the feedback.
So the Senate committee is in a sitting, and we're going to be taking visuals from there happening right now inside of Abuja.
Hold on. can you give them copies? So that you can follow what cyber police, sir.
So, sir. No, see, look at it. It's on defamation, it's on sexual harassment.
Okay,
yes, as I said, yes, there are two.
Madam Professor, is to allow you follow his arguments.
Okay, so there are two suits, as I said earlier, where the wife of distinguished Senator Godswill Akpabio sued to enforce her fundamental human right regarding this allegation of sexual harassment that was made against her husband and the entire family. Then she also brought a writ of summons in which she's also asking for damages, all bordering on sexual allegation, not on cyberbullying. The defamation matter is one that suspended Senator Natasha brought. It's different from the allegation of sexual harassment in which the wife of Godswill Akpabio went to court in order to challenge and ask for damages that have been done to her husband and the entire family. So there are two suits. I presented it before the August committee last Tuesday. And so I'm sure my colleague has copies of the two suits. It's on sexual harassment. That is one with regards to issue that the matter is sub judice. Then the other issue you raise about Senator Natasha being present.
Their prayer.
Okay, the prayer. The prayers.
Yeah, they pray that they like that.
Yes.
Testify. Am I correct?
Yeah.
And I said speak to that.
Yes. They have other witnesses. What I know about issue of witnesses is that you can take your first. So far you have listed out the names of witnesses you have actually lined up for your case. You can start with the last person if the first person is not available, because it does happen that maybe your first witness is not available. You can start with that witness that is available in order to probably give life to whatever allegations you have made. So if the committee considers this worthy in the application that they are putting up now for an adjournment in order to allow distinguished Senator Natasha to come and give evidence, the committee has the right to reach that decision. But for me, if they have other witnesses, they can start by adopting and then go on with witnesses that they have today so that we can make some level of progress. That's my advice.
Please turn off your mic.
Thank you, sir.
All right. I thank you very much, and I thank Mr. Suberu for coming. Please. But let me I want to address something. Okay. Please. For coming before us. Learned Council, I've heard you. You said because I made a statement in Arise, if I'm correct, therefore I should recluse myself because that shows bias. But let me tell you, and I use the word dead on arrival, that case that came before us, the first petition that came, is not this petition. That petition was signed by distinguished Senator Natasha Akpoti-Buduah. Contrary to our rules, you cannot sign your own petition. 2, a petition that came before us did not even have an address. Contrary to our rules, that petition shouldn't have been entertained. Because you are a learned council, submit a case, submit your own petition to court, and don't sign it. They will throw it out. Whether you use the word dead on arrival or not, they will throw it out. We are lawyers here, so we understand that. In any case, from the position that I can see you are taking, it means the whole Senate is biased. Because the whole Senate witnessed what happened on the floor. They witnessed it. And so, I don't know what other committee you're going to now constitute that is not aware of what has been going on. 2, learned respondent has just told us, and I'm sure you have the case file and index number in front of you, that this matter is before a law court. And I will address that. I will address that by our rule book, which says order 47, and I will read on record. Senate should not receive or deliberate on any matter to which actions are pending in any court of law. Senate should not receive or deliberate on any matter to which actions are pending in any court of law. This is our rulebook, Senate Standing Orders 2023 as amended. And I'm glad you said you have had the opportunity to read this rulebook. Therefore, based on two things. One, the petitioner said he will not speak to his petition because the Senate is biased, or I'm biased, or the committee is biased. Two, the respondent has just told us, and the papers are before you, that this case is before a competent court of law. Therefore, this committee will allow a court of law that will not be biased to handle this matter. Therefore, this matter is closed here at the Senate and is adjourned. Sit down.
Senate sitting on alleged sexual harassment case for Natasha Akpotiuduaghan, former Senator Natasha Akpotiuduaghan from Abuja. We'll continue to bring you details on what's been happening or what happens after here on News Central, only if you stay tuned. Now, coming up inside of the news, Mozambique opposition government agrees to end violence. We'll take a break now and more details after. Welcome back. Now, in Southern Africa, Mozambique's opposition leader Venâncio Mondlane says he and President Daniel Chapo have agreed to end all violence after months of deadly clashes between protesters and security forces. Mondlane met with Chapo in Maputo, which has been gripped with political turmoil since the disrupted general elections in October. The unrest has involved police violence, attacks on security forces, and clashes between opposition supporters and members of the ruling party. Mondlane also said the president had agreed on the need to provide social and psychological assistance to the families of victims and to establish legal frameworks for the release of detained protesters.
Temos que acabar imediatamente, chegamos ao consenso que é urgentíssimo acabar com todo tipo de violência. Tanto a violência que estão a sofrer estes jovens, que se dizem seguidores de Venâncio, ou o povo, mas também, diga-se a verdade, aqui é que está o valor do diálogo, tem que acabar todo tipo de violência infligida aos polícias, aos membros do Partido Frelimo ou a todos os outros que não estiverem.
Now, U.S. jet fuel imports are set to hit a 2-year high in March, driven by Nigeria's 650,000 barrels per day Dangote refinery exporting barrels to North America. Now, data from Kepler shows that 6 vessels carrying 1.7 million barrels already arrived, with other shipments being expected. Now, this surge, alongside a New Jersey refinery shutdown, created a rare opportunity for Nigerian fuel to enter the U.S. market. Increased supply has driven storage demands up sharply, which could lower jet fuel prices ahead of summer. However, analysts warn economic uncertainties might offset any travel boosts from cheaper fuel. Sheon Dania, energy consultant, here tells. Now we're being joined by Sheon Daniels. He's an energy consultant. Sheon, you're welcome. Thank you very much for joining us.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thanks for having me.
Now, how significant is Dangote Refinery's entry into the U.S. jet fuel market? Is this something Nigeria should be excited about? What does it mean for the global fuel trading dynamics too?
The entry of the Dangote Refinery to the U.S. market is a major shift in global trading dynamics. This is the first time that we're seeing, exports from Nigeria, particularly going into the U.S. markets, and not just for crude oil. This is now for refined products. And of course, the Dangote Refinery, with over 650,000 barrels per day capacity, is the largest in Africa. And it has scaled up its operations, and the refinery can actually supply about 1.7 million barrels of jet fuel to the U.S. They've done that in this March alone. We demonstrate their capability to compete with traditional Atlantic Basin refiners, primarily those in the US and the US Gulf. This also is a significant shift because it introduces a new supplier into the already competitive market, and it's diversifying our options for the US importers. And then, of course, it's waking some of the negotiating power that the Gulf and European refineries have, forcing them to also be able to adjust their prices. Let's not forget that in Nigeria particularly, the Dangote refinery will definitely be enjoying a lot of benefits from reduced cost of operations in terms of lower cost of labor and several other factors.
So, Sheon, could exports of this quantity position Nigeria as a key player in the global energy market then?
Oh, evidently. Nigeria has long been a big, crude exporter. But now adding refinery capacity into the mix puts us on changes the narrative entirely. We're moving up the value chain. We're no longer the guys who just export crude oil and import refined products. We're also exporting crude oil and also have the ability to export our refined petroleum products. Maintain this consistent volume. If the refinery is able to maintain a consistent volume, it will put Nigeria as a major player in the refined products markets, not like some industries in India, which are the big suppliers of, refined products. Moreover, if the Dangote refinery is able to secure long-term contracts with airlines across distributors within the US, it will elevate Nigeria's role in the global energy supply chain, to reduce our dependence and reduce their dependence on the European and Middle Eastern refineries.
Okay, then, Sheon, thank you very much for giving us your expert opinion regarding this then. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you very much for having me.
And that's all this hour. But before we go, let's take another look at some of the major stories. Federal High Court judge has stepped down from Senator Natasha Akpoti-Oduagan's suspension case of a petition from Senate President Godswill Akpabio. And we also told you organized labor threatens to disrupt the economy if Rivers emergency rule is not reversed. We said that Mozambique's opposition leader, Mondlane, and President Chapo have agreed to end violence in the country. Now, do remember you can send your eyewitness reports to the WhatsApp number on your screens now. And do follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, GoTV channel 23, Star Times channel 274, Able TV, and of course on YouTube. Many thanks for watching. My name is Mazino Appeal.